Of equations by substitution to do systems of equation. We're finding the one point that these two lines have in common. That one point, this y would be exactly the same as this y. So we are going to, I'm having issues with this. We are going to plug all of this in for the y up here. So negative x plus 7 is equal to 2x plus 4. And we're going to solve that equation. I'm going to get my x's together on one side of the equation. Get my constants together on another side of the equation. And then isolate that variable. So my x is equal to 1. So that is only half of the problem. Now I need to go on and do the second half of the problem by plugging this into either one of the equations. Either one will work. They'll give you the same thing. And I now need to figure out what my x is. So I now know that the x is 1. So y is negative 1 plus 6. Whoops, thinking of the answer already. So y is 6. So the answer to my system is that the one point that they have in common is 1, 6. This is my x, this is the y. That's the one point that would work. When you plug in 1 here, you get 6. When you plug in 1 here, you get 6. It's the one point they have in common. Some of the problems won't have the y's by itself. They won't be in slope-intercept form. And as long as you have one letter by itself, you can still do this system. So all of this is going to go in there for the y. So where it was a y, I'm going to put a parenthesis. And where that y was, I'm going to plug in all of this. This is called substituting. So that y is an x plus 7. And this problem's even a little easier than that because it's all on the left side. There's nothing to distribute here. So I'm going to add my 2x and my 1x to get 3x plus 7 equals negative 2. And I'm going to start isolating my variable. And divide by 3. And my x is equal to negative 3. Again, I don't have to solve for x first. I can solve for whatever I want. So now that I know that x is negative 3, I'm going to plug that back in. This one here looks slightly easier for me to plug that value back into. That's a negative 3. Can you see that negative sign is kind of on top of the line? So to find my y, I'm going to plug in negative 3 for that x. I could use either equation. This one just seemed easier. So my second half of the problem is solving that little mini problem. Let me pick a different color here. And so my final answer is x is negative 3 and y is 4. That is that one point that they have in common. My x and my y, this is my x and this is my y. It's the one and only one point they have in common. You are plugging in a big set. This is the hardest as they get. So on this one here, let me change it back to red. We are going to need to isolate one of these. You have to have one letter all by itself. So I'm going to get y by itself, putting this into slope-intercept form. It looks like that. So now I'm going to forget about that equation. It's gone. These are my two systems of equation. And I'm going to take all of this and plug it in right here where the y is. And this is where it gets a little messy. So I'll slow down. Okay, so I wrote the whole equation down, putting a parenthesis where the x was, and where the y was. And I am now going to plug all of that in and substitute all of this for the y. So that is a negative x and a positive 2. All of that gets plugged in where the y is, and I'm going to need to distribute and then combine like terms. So this is still going to be this, but this is going to give me negative 3x and a positive 6. So negative 5x when I combine like terms. Now I'm going to subtract 6. And isolate, don't miss that pesky negative sign. So my x is 3. So now I got my second half of the problem that I still need to do. And I am going to look at these and think of which one looks easier to plug 3 in for my x. I would definitely say the second one looks easier. So I'm going to write down my y equals negative x plus 2. And I want to erase that, and where that was, I want to plug in that 3. Where there was an x, I am now putting a negative 3. So y is equal to negative 3 plus 2, which is negative 1. So my final answer is 3 for the x and negative 1 for the y. This is the x, this is the y. It looks hard, it is long, but it is very doable if you just take it one step at a time and just try on your first couple. Let's go ahead and look at your homework. Your homework is this one here. So starting off on this one here, all of this is just going to go in for this. What point are those equal? So you're going to have 2x minus 8 equals x minus 6. And you're going to go ahead and solve that for your x and then plug it back in and solve it for y. Let's go ahead and get this one.